Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So it's getting near the holiday season, one holiday, then another holiday, all kinds of holidays. And I have someone in our studio you've heard many times, Dean Webb, who's the executive director of Faith Farm Ministries. And he has such beautiful family memories. And for him, the holidays are very important, as they are for me. Actually, I don't really have a lot of family around, but a little bit. And I don't get depressed like some people do at family, whether they're there or not. I like to just see the music. I just like everything about Christmas, about, the holidays, Thanksgiving. So you said when we first started talking today that this is a time for a lot of people who are unstable to go into some really deep depression.
Oh, yeah. Statistics show that there are more suicides between Christmas and New Year than any other time of the year. And the holiday should be just a joyful time. But if somebody feels apart from their family, or they've suffered a loss in the family, they don't have other family around them or something, they get really depressed. And it's really sad how many suicides occur around Christmas time.
Now, I don't think you or I have ever really been depressed.
No.
It's it's just in our makeup. Maybe we've been sad about something happens. Of course,
I've been discouraged.
Of course. And if somebody you love dies, I can see depression, but it doesn't stay.
Yeah.
It doesn't
not
stay.
enough to take my life.
Well, even to be depressed very long, because you see, what is life? But you're here, you're not here, and you do what I think I try to do, is make every day count.
Yeah. Well, I told somebody, I was describing you the other day, they said, she's the heart of so many people. She's this, she's that. And I said, how I view Anita besides the heart? I view you as a ligament. You are a connector. I watch you connect this person, with other person. You're like in a body, you would be the ligament. You just connect everybody together. And I saw that at Bill's 93rd birthday party. I mean, just people from all different people there. It was really great.
Well, I guess because I just see people as beautiful human beings, most of them. There are a few that if they're given a chance, and if they don't, do the thing, then I'm really bad. Because I think everyone has the right to do that. That's why we're here, to be a good human being. But I see you and everyone, I always brag about you because you have great responsibilities, and yet you always seem to be up on it and in charge of it. And of course, marrying this wonderful woman. I was talking about Cindy the other day too. She must be. See, she's very different from you in so many ways. She's like the glue.
Yeah,
isn't she?
I'm always timely and early. She's always late.
But
not because she intends to be late.
She's
but she
got
gets,
so many things she has to do for things.
Trying to do stuff, and
right.
But she's,
she's got a heart.
Let me just tell you.
Heart.
Somebody asked me, if you had to do her tombstone today, what would you put on it?
Oh.
And I said, that's easy. I would say, the kindest soul I've ever known.
I would agree. I don't know her.
Soul
right.
I've ever
I don't
known.
know her that well, of course, like you, but that's what she does. She just exudes this.
Yeah, she just loves everybody. She can't. She couldn't even stand this last political campaign. She says, "I just hate all the venom that's going back and forth." And she said, and she just would not watch sometimes. She just couldn't stand.
I've stopped watching.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, we've all done that. We've all stopped.
Yeah, she just and I love it. Of course, she came in. We've been married 8 years, and she came in, and I have 4 grandsons and a granddaughter, and she, so she's not my daughter, their mother's real mother, but so that's kind of hard to come into a family, as a new wife, and because mine passed away, but she puts herself in the shoes of all the different ages of the grandchildren, and she writes them and gifts them appropriately and sends them the appropriate gift. And she never forgets. She gets a huge box together for Halloween, so everybody's got a Halloween gift and everybody's got a Christmas gift. And it just, I said, honey, I'm so busy. If it was up to me, as much as I love my kids and grandkids, I'd never get around. They'd never get anything from me. I would never slow down enough to do that. But she does.
Well,
and she's
she
very
is the
thoughtful.
gift. She's actually the gift. And I can understand what you said. But, if we move that now to Faith Farm, I think there are a lot of people there who are gifts. And that's why it's so successful. So when I look at some of the people that you've told me have really been in trouble and now they're doing so well, was the gift hidden?
You mean their gifting?
Yeah. No. Yeah, the way they are. They're the gift. They're
people have setbacks in life, and it's really sad. I mean, I've had some, but not to the degree some of these people have. And they, I was brought up to be in a strong Christian home. My dad was a pastor, and when something happened to us, he would just tap on the Bible and say, "Go read that." He'd say, "That's where your strength is. God created you. That's the manufacturer's handbook. Go to the handbook and read it."
That's great.
So I would gain source of encouragement from that because I knew certain passages were encouraging. But a lot of people, they grow up either abused verbally or it could be physically, but a lot of times verbal abuse, and they have no self-esteem. And when something starts to derail them, they'll turn to drugs or alcohol to try and medicate their mind and emotions away from that. And I think that's what happens sometimes during Christmas time when somebody's detached from their family. They just want to medicate and forget about it, and just fog their mind up or whatever that happens when you do alcohol.
But you do celebrate Thanksgiving there. You do celebrate, and maybe some of the people have never had that much of a family before.
No,
when you think of it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the lady Catherine, wonderful person who runs our women's ministry, we got her from Twin Falls, Idaho. She ran a women's ministry out there, and I encountered her. I ran into her in Seattle, took her to lunch at a convention that we were mutually attending, and I just fell in love with her. I thought she was great. So it just so happened that I said, if you ever consider running a women's ministry in Florida, give me a call. And I gave her my card. Well, her sister lives in Jupiter. So she came to visit, and she said, I'm coming to visit over the 4th of July weekend. I said, Catherine, on the 5th, Sunday, we've got a graduation. Would you come and have your sister drive you down? So she came to graduation. Of course, just like you, her heart was touched when she saw there was, I think, 1 woman and 4 men graduating. And when she heard the testimonies and their speeches of their changed lives, at that point she says, "Okay, I want to talk to you." So we went to lunch and talked about what it would look like for her position to be here. And she was the executive director there and responsible for all her own fundraising and stuff. So she looked at the women's ministry, and finally we ended up negotiating, getting together, and she moved here. Now her husband is a pastor, and he had to stay behind. So the board made special mandate that quarterly that she could get away, not counting her vacation, to go. Either the husband come there or she could go to Idaho for 2 years. He had an obligation as the head of a church. So anyway, we made all sorts of arrangements to get her there. But the thing that touched me I asked her about Christmas in Twin Falls, Idaho, with her women's ministry. And she said, well, one of the things I did, we had a limited number of beds. She said it was a very small program, like 10 beds. And so we had intimate connection with these girls. She said, but I always had an extra room with beds because women that would graduate, I would know if they didn't have a family to go to, they would come back Christmas Eve, and we'd have some kind of gifts for them so that they would still feel part of a family connection with the women. Even though they'd already graduated my program, they would come back. And she said, I always had extra rooms. So she says, so the new women's dorm that you're planning someday to have at Boynton, I want you to have extra rooms because the women that graduate, I want them to feel they're part of the family and come back, whether it's Thanksgiving or whether it's Christmas Eve. She said, I don't want them to feel disconnected just because they graduated. And that really touched me when she told me that. What a wonder. Yeah. It just touched me so much. I said, Catherine, that's the sweetest thing. I said, I will keep that in mind when we're designing a women's dorm, that you would do that.
And the extra room.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
The extra room.
But talking about Thanksgiving, maybe I didn't tell you this story, but I know that there are a lot of elders out there that don't have family either.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bill and I, when my mother, everyone was alive, my aunts, everything, we used to have a big party at our home over in Ocean Ridge, and we had 35, 40 people, and everyone just came however they came. And I just ordered more turkeys. It wasn't a big deal, but people enjoyed it. And the way that happened, though, it didn't happen casually. I had a certain amount of family, and then one morning before Thanksgiving on the radio, I said, if you don't have anywhere to go, you can come to my house for Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
Probably had about 12 people, maybe couples or whatever. Of course, everyone thought I was crazy. Well, I didn't get a million people coming, but they came, and they came for years, every Thanksgiving until they started dying off. And, of course, my family died off, and so we don't have that. But it is something very special that it has nothing to do with the bird, having the Thanksgiving. It's just having people together that you feel like you're not alone in this world. Yeah. But isn't that what Faith Farm? I want everyone to know. I always get caught up here, but Dean Webb, Executive Director of Faith Farm Ministries, and I want to talk a little bit about that for 1 minute. Judy Walters is a very important person there. She is going through some, serious illness, but she's what a trooper she is. We love her so much, and we wish her so much well, and we're certainly praying for all the good that can happen for her. But Faith Farm Ministries is an extraordinary place, and it isn't just for giving. You give things there that you don't want anymore. You go to buy things. It's really a lot more than that. It's like a microcosm of humanity. I always see it that way. Sure, people have addictions, but don't we all in different ways? I don't have an addiction to alcohol or drugs, but I have other addictions, food, different things. And it's of course, we know that alcohol and drugs, though, can be so much more serious. And so this is a place that if you may not be thinking of donating money, but I hope you will think about it, because Dean will tell you just a short minute about just what they do. We've said this before, and if you read Boomer Times, you'll see every month, you'll see a beautiful story. And it is, for me, the place that really takes the money and you can see it being used. Not everywhere. Right. I mean, a lot of these things, they're using the money, but you just don't really see a person until you meet them and you hear what they have to say. But at Faith Farm, 400 plus people are being saved every day.
Absolutely. And, we're a member of ECFA, Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability. And so there are hundreds of missions and TV ministries and churches that are a member of that. And we're the number one on that in terms of the fact that efficiency, in other words, 94 cents on the dollar on every dollar given to us goes into the program, only 6% overhead and admin. That's unheard of.
Unheard of.
Yeah, there's nothing even close to us. So we plow everything back into helping these people because, everybody, in our opinion, is extremely savable and valuable.
Well, over the years, and there's been 60 some odd years.
65 years last
If we
month.
line them all up across I-95, a lot of people there that have been saved and helped with it.
We haven't kept a lot of records going back 65 years, but we estimate somewhere in the 30 to 35,000 range that people have been saved.
How do we get everybody to come back just one time?
I don't know. Well, you've been to homecoming. They come from all over the country.
I know, but I'm really talking big numbers. If we could get everybody to come back, we could get such national coverage on that one.
Yeah, that would be really something.
People don't think about it. They don't realize it.
Yeah.
I mean, 400 people you're taking care of, or let's say you get 1,000 people that come to graduation, but that's peanuts compared to 35,000.
Yeah.
We see them in the streets now, and, they're protesting or they're whatever they're doing. Let's get 35,000 out there saying what a great program this is.
That would be great. But, we pull from 50 states and about 8 foreign countries. So to get all of the graduates there, I can't imagine what that would take or cost. Just our homecoming, we have about 1,000 people come back every year, every February, to our homecoming meeting, where we pitch a tent and feed them a big barbecue, and they have a special speaker, somebody who's usually been addicted and recovered and now started a business and is successful, to give them a vision for what could be for their lives.
So when you think, now getting back to Thanksgiving and Christmas and the holiday, I just think that those people, should be so thankful, and I know they are. I've never really interviewed a lot of them. Maybe that's something I should be doing, going through there and interviewing them to just get a feeling of what this is all about. And they probably would talk to me. I don't think they'd mind. And then when we do a radio show, I could tell you about a lot of the things that they said.
Yeah, that would probably be good.
You probably need to arrange that for me if it's okay. You don't know because some people may not want to talk. But I love the graduations, and it wouldn't have to be but a few minutes. I mean, that would be
pretty neat. Yeah,
I'd
like to hear their candid remarks.
Well, we won't let you be there so that they'll be very candid. But but I see maybe Faith Farm like a huge Christmas tree, and all the ornaments are those people.
Yep.
Maybe we need to get a few Christmas trees, and every ornament has someone's name on it. I don't know. I'm in a real holiday mood. You can see this.
You are. You're
cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bad indictment on society that we have 445 beds in there. We always have a waiting list, and it's really sad, isn't it? I mean, it's nice that we can help, but it's sad that there's such a demand. I mean, if you think about it, for 65 years, people have been standing in line to get in to try and change their life, and it's a sad indictment, but it's a happy time because we get to see lives changed, and that's tremendous.
But there's really no answer. I don't think there's an easy answer. People talk about mental health and all, but I think you have to really get to the families. Families, I think they're everything, aren't they?
Yeah, family. The family environment is probably the most crucial thing there is, and even that's not a panacea. No. I mean, we've had testimony of kids were brought up in wonderful Jewish or Christian, Catholic, whatever homes, and when they get off with their peer groups and they get under peer pressure to do drugs or alcohol, they'll try it, and usually by the time they always start drinking, that's usually the first thing. Then the next thing is marijuana, and that's the gateway drug to something stronger. And
excuse me, but isn't it true now, though, if they've been hurt, they get into the medical drugs and can't get off those?
Oh, yeah, prescriptive medicines. Yeah, we've had a lot of people that were wonderful family members, and they got in an auto accident and got prescribed pain medicine for their neck or whatever, and the pain didn't go away, so they get another script and they fill that, and pretty soon they're addicted. And OxyContin or something like that it's more addictive than heroin, and they go downhill from there. Once, it's hard to imagine because we're not addicted, but once people get addicted, they're addicted. They don't care about anything. They'll steal from their mother, their father, their brother, their husband or wife just to get something for that next fix. And until they hit bottom somehow, whatever, and that's different for everybody, till they hit bottom and realize I can't, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got to make a life change. And at some point they'll call somebody like Faith Farm and apply, and that's the start of the turn of their life.
And as you were talking, I was thinking about that. So someone's suffering with this alone, and now they get to go to a place where everyone there is suffering with this.
Absolutely.
That must be a very special place to be, that they're not an outsider, that they're not a bad person, that they just have this problem, and we're here to fix it and help you fix it. So just being together, I think, and I know I see everyone hugging everyone. That's what you've created, which is
it's
got to
like
work.
It's a transplanted family, except it's at Faith Farm, and they're in with other people that are not judgmental. They've had the same problem they've had. Plus, they relate to each other. They understand totally what the other person's going through because they know that they understand what they're going through. And so there's a camaraderie. I call them foxhole buddies, guys that go through the war and save each other's life and defend each other. They get in reunions for the next 100 years if they live long enough because that was their foxhole buddy, their group, their platoon, whatever. Well, it's kind of the same way with Faith Farm. They've all been through the mully grubs together. They understand what they've been through. There's nothing that's new or shocking to them, and they try and support each other to get through the program. And it's a long program, 9 months. So
that's what I was thinking about. So if they see someone kind of faltering, they're talking crazy and all, do they then try to help them or go get one of the counselors and say that we have a guy that's...
Yeah, they usually always start themselves, to try and help them. And I always tell the incoming class, to read the book of Proverbs because it's got 31 chapters, and it's written by Solomon, which God said was going to be the wisest man that ever lived and the richest man that ever lived. And he wrote 31 chapters, and there are 31 days in the month. So it's real easy to remember which proverb. If you know the date, you know what Proverbs to read for that day. But there's a Proverbs that says, iron sharpens iron. So a person's countenance sharpens the countenance of their friend. And so I always tell them, not everybody's here to change. Some people are looking for to get out of the cold, so to speak, to look for a bed and a meal to try and assess where they're at. Other people come in, they've hit bottom, they're determined, to change. I said, link up with that person, because if you start to feel bad or depressed, that person's going to lift you up. He's not going to jump on the bandwagon with you and badmouth the other person or your bedmate or Faith Farm or whatever. They're going to lift you up. So iron sharpens iron. You link up with somebody that's just as determined as you are to get through the program, and you'll do fine.
That's why I link up with you. You're my iron. I link up with you because you're always so full of positive things. And you told us last time you were here about, was it NBC? Or CBS? NBC.
No, NBC.
And is that still bringing more people? You still hear about that?
Yeah, we still get calls. People said, of course, it's died down because that Lester Holt does a lot of interesting stories. For example, you must not have seen it, but you were telling me before we got on the air about how you used to invite people in for Thanksgiving, and it grew and grew. Well, he did a story about a man and wife with a couple of kids, and they had friends that didn't have good families. He says, well, bring them over for Thanksgiving. Anyway, it showed the table. People kept hearing about them, and they'd say, well, if you want to come. They had 25 people around this huge table, and it got so big, feeding. For their case, it's every Thursday night. Everybody knows they can come to their house every Thursday night.
Now, every Thursday night you can come there?
He finally quit his job and started a nonprofit foundation to raise money to feed that, because they were going broke trying to do this. But
this is Lester Holt?
Lester Holt, NBC Nightly News.
I know who he is. He quit his job?
No. He told the story of this man who quit his job.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. It was on Lester Holt.
Oh, so
he's the one that did our story.
His job.
Yeah. And started a foundation to raise the money for him to be able to continue to feed these people on Thursday nights. And it was so interesting, Anita. There was a whole long table. And there were black, white, there were Indians, there were young, old. It was such a mix of people there all talking. And it was, some of them had such strong accents, others couldn't hear them, but they didn't care. It was the camaraderie and the love around that table. It was so evident on television, on the news. It was really great. So
tell me what it's like, though, at Faith Farm for dinner. Who sits where, and how? Are they long tables? I've never really been there for dinner.
No, they don't. We have when I talk about needing money, we always need money. One of the things is, like, for example, at Boynton, our chow hall, it'll only seat a third of the people at a time. So, like, for example, on a normal day like today, the women will come in from 11:30 to 12, then half of the men will come in from 12 to 12:30, then the other half will come in 12:30 to 1. And that's the way we have to seat, because we don't have the resources to seat everybody together. So no, unfortunately we can't get everybody in together. I've got plans for the campus someday to build a large dining hall where we can seat everybody and have that feeling, but we just don't have that right now. We're making do with what we've got.
And so they come in and they eat, but you have people who are helping in the dining room.
We have people. We have food service is one of our comprehensive work training things, so people can go out and get a job in fast food or whatever. So they some of them work in the kitchen, some of them work at cleanup. Other people come in and eat, and they put their trays up, and clean their dishes.
What if they're still hungry?
They can go back.
Oh, they can.
Yeah, we have no limit, and of course, one whole side of the wall is nothing but a huge salad bar. If they want to fill up on soup or salad, they got unlimited. They've got down the other walls all desserts. If they want desserts, we don't recommend that, but we get donated a lot of stuff from Whole Foods and other places that give us desserts, and so nobody has any reason to be hungry ever.
See, I think that's a very important thing. If their stomach, they call it, their bellies are full. If the stomach's full, I think they can think, right? And they can pay attention, because isn't that the bad part about people who are on drugs and addiction?
They say their attention
starving
span
and they just don't, they can't.
They don't have the brain food.
That's right.
So,
they don't.
but nobody goes away hungry. We provide whatever they want to eat, and when they come in the program, they get food stamps. That covers about half of what
they get
costs
food
to feed
stamps.
them. Yeah, which we get, and we're one of the organizations that we're allowed to take their food stamps, put it all together, and buy food and prepare it for them. So it makes it a lot more efficient than people out trying to do their own thing.
I did not know that. See, that's another thing. So that's
about
wonderful.
that's about half of our. George Bush started that. He said Christian faith-based organizations are more efficient than government organizations. So he said if you're homeless or on drug addiction and you're in a recovery program, you're considered homeless and indigent, and so you're eligible for food stamps. Even if your family's got food stamps back home, we're not going to take from them. And so when they sign up, we take their food stamp cards and we conglomerate them, put them in, and we go buy food. We buy it wholesale. Like we have big trucks like Cisco Food Systems and stuff come in and deliver food, and then we prepare it. So that goes a long way. The food stamps cover about half of our food costs, and then another 10 or 20% is donated foods from people like Publix and Whole Foods. We have a van that goes out from Boynton at 4 o'clock in the morning to makes all the rounds to the Publix to get the produce they may be going to throw away because tomorrow it'll be old and they have to start early. They got a shipment coming in, whatever. And Trader Joe's, one of our favorite accounts, they give us flowers that we give the women that come to visit. They get flowers from Trader Joe's. And so that's about another 20%. And then the other, roughly $500,000 or so is our cost for food to make up what it costs to feed 445 people.
Well, Trader Joe's has not been one of my favorite places, but I'll tell you, after what you just told me, I'll go there more.
Yeah, they're one of our favorite. So Whole Foods is too.
Yeah, of
Whole
course,
Foods is
I
very
love
gracious.
them. I love them.
Yeah, very gracious.
I guess it's because Trader Joe's has so much of their own stuff. I was trying to get.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we get Publix, Panera Bread, Starbucks.
See,
people around us donate.
Next time we have to go into the business of what this all is. This isn't casual. So, see, we did it again, didn't we?
Had no subject, and we filled the time slot.
It was great, and I want you to, of course, this will be a happy Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
And thank you, Dean, always. Let me just give you the website, please. Please, please, please donate. You can donate cash. You can do it. So it's faithfarm.org. That's it, faithfarm.org.
Faithfarm.org.
So thanks, and
Thanks for having
happy
me on.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.